All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about effective phone follow-ups and how to convert more leads into appointments. Now, I know a lot of you are afraid of the phones. A lot of you don't like working the phones, but the reality is this. I want you to understand this. We're going to do a deep dive into this. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll understand the importance of this. You won't be afraid of it, because a lot of times when we're afraid of something, it's because we don't know how to do that thing. You know, if you got good at doing that thing and you knew what to do and what the objective of it overall was, and again, you got good at it and you got results with those things, okay, then we're usually not afraid of doing that thing and we're good with doing that thing. You know, right? So I'm going to break this down and make sure we're going to do a deep dive into this, because I want you guys to all be phone converting machines, you know, by the end of this podcast here. But the first thing is understanding why this is essential and why this is important. All right, you got to understand that in real estate, I don't care if your business is outbound or inbound. So whether you're doing a lot of prospecting, cold calls, or if you're doing a lot of, let's just say, like maybe online leads and inbound business, or even if you're doing a shit ton of referral business, it doesn't matter what type of business that you're doing. The reality is that appointments get set over the phones. And if you are somebody that's doing a lot of production and continue to grow and scale and doing a lot of production, like you just know and understand that 90+% of appointments set out there get set through the phones. Yeah, you're going to have the random person that will just jump on your calendar schedule with it, or that you might be able to set these up with email or text message. But those that, like, when I talk to agents out there, they're like, oh yeah, I'll do all my appointments with they think their business is inbound. I guess it is inbound. But they'll be like, yeah, I'll do all my appointments are set through email and text or through social media. I don't have to ever jump on the phones. But as we go deeper into it, like, they're popping like 12 deals a year. And I'm not saying that's not bad, but that's not enough volume. Like, they're just taking the easy laydowns, right? Like, if you're wanting to truly go out there and grow and scale and, close, a lot of units year after year after year, you are going to quickly discover that 90+% of appointments that are set through the phones. So again, whether your business is inbound, outbound, or how your business is structured, this is a skill set that you need to acquire, that you need to dial in, that you need to get good at. And we just need to understand and realize that the higher the ticket item that we are selling, the more important that phone sales become. Right. And what I mean by this is, okay, like, I've got a supplement company. So a lot of you understand and know that, I've got the supplement company. So, okay, if I just take one of my supplements, it's called Zone, right? And this is for, mental energy, memory, focus, so like when I want to, go work on a project for 5 straight hours and I just want insane mental energy and insane mental focus, okay, I'll go pop, 5, a serving size of Zone, and get that thing dialed in. Okay, well, that's a $79 product for a month's supply. Okay, so that's a low, cheap, ticket item, right? So, like, I don't need to have phone sales to go out there and sell a $79 e-commerce product. That can all be done through online funnels, automation. Like, there's no element of phone sales that need to happen, jump on that. But the higher the ticket item that it is that we are selling, the more important, again, phone or live Zoom video calls or face-to-face become that much more relevant and that much more important. And you and I, we are selling the highest ticket item that exists out there. Okay, yeah, maybe there's planes and yachts that are a higher ticket item than real estate, but I don't know about you, but at least for my clientele that I'm helping go out there and buy and sell and have for my whole entire career, they're not buying planes and yachts. Right? So for my clientele, what I'm helping them go out there and sell and acquire is the largest ticket item that they'll ever financially transact within. So again, the higher the ticket item, the more important phones, either live video, live phone, or face-to-face comes into the play, as far as optimizing and maximizing conversions. And the great part about this is so much of our industry just wants to now go and just rely on automation. And look, dude, I'm all about automation as well. But I understand that, again, appointments are set on the phone. So I leverage automation inside my real estate business to go out there and keep the messages alive. I keep, get people to know me, like me, trust me, be aware of what I do for a living. So I want to keep my message in front of them frequently, but the automation is just to, again, keep my name in front of them, keep educating, keep informing them, but really to elicit a response. And as soon as that response comes in, boom, then from there, I'm on it with the phone calls and I'm trying to go out there. So, that's just kind of, to automate is based on timeline, and to, again, elicit that response. When that response comes in, then boom, from there, every objective from there, like all of that really exists to get that response so I can get them on the phone. Right? Because again, I know that the appointments are going to be set on the phones. So that is the importance of why, right? So we got to understand why things are important before we go out there and do them. Now let's talk about, I want to get into frequency and what to say and when to say it and whatnot. So I think that we can all agree and we all understand. It's not just that we can all agree. It's just a fact of the situation of the times that we are in is we have lower answer rates and it takes higher frequency than ever before to get people on the phone. Right now with spam blockers and all this, robo dialing BS that we have to deal with, and calls showing up as spam and caller ID, and people are just busier and they're less reliant on the phones. At least my 29 years of doing sales, it is harder to get people on the phone than any time that I've seen in 29 years of doing sales. I've had almost 19 years now in real estate. And that 10 years in the health club, selling gym memberships before that, like, dude, it just takes more frequency. So we need to be aggressive with frequency, but not necessarily aggressive with people. There is a big difference. And I'll go deeper into this as we go along here, but I want you to understand that, right? Aggressive with frequency, but not aggressive with people. If you want to convert at a high level, like, look, if you want to go out there and convert at a low level and you want to just have to make it where it's a numbers game, and if you want to go out there and just, have a lot of resistance and have a lot of angry people, okay, well, then you can be aggressive with people and go down that path. For me, I want to do what is most effective. I want to convert at the highest possible level. And I know in the era and the age that we are in, the most ineffective, hands down way of selling is to be aggressive and be pushy with people. It's the biggest turnoff. And we'll talk deeper about this here as we get into, more of what to say. But the first thing I want you to understand is we have to be aggressive with frequency, but then not aggressive with people. I don't want you to get those confused. And why do we need to be aggressive with frequency? Okay, so let's just break down. I'm going to go through averages here, average numbers. Now, you're not going to be average. I'm not here to be average. I don't think any of us want to be average. We know average gets us in this real estate industry. You'd be making more money working at McDonald's full time than the average, real estate agent, the average realtor, the average team leader, and the average brokerage owner inside of our business is broke as a joke, right? So none of us want to be average, but I'm just going to go off of average numbers to set a baseline for us. Okay, so if we assume that average answer rates are 10%, right, which is going to be a good answer rate, right? Somewhere between 5% is getting on the low end. If you're hitting on the right days with the right frequency, it's pretty easy to get a 10% answer rate. Now, if your answer rate is below 10%, just kind of, if your answer rate's below 5%, just as a side note here, there's probably, that's a red flag that there's a problem. Right? Like your number might be showing up in as a spam block number. There's an issue there, right? So I'd start, if your answer rates are below 5%, I would be concerned there, right? So, okay, let's just assume though, that you got a 10% answer rate. So that means if the average person is only answering their phone 10% of the time, with that same lead, on average, I'm going to have to do 10 attempts to get a hold of them once. And we're just assuming with the average 10% answer rates, which again, you can go do your due diligence on this. This is just kind of what we are seeing. You can get above this. I'm just using average numbers right now, right? So, okay, same lead, 10 reach outs on average to get them on the phone once. Then from there, with the same lead, you are going to, on average, get rejected by that same lead 5 times before you get a yes. You're going to get 5 no's before you get a yes. Now, I'm going to go explain that here in a minute, because this is going to be, you're going to have 5 attempts at trying to set an appointment, which the reason a lead exists inside your world is to set an appointment. Now, most people are not rejecting you. They're not saying, oh, no, screw you, never call me again. You're a piece of crap. I don't want to do business with you. Right? Like, okay, most are just, hey, no, not right now to the process. They're just not ready yet. Right? And again, there's a way to navigate these conversations. Like if somebody tells me to F off, go screw myself, they don't want to ever deal with me again, like whatever. Okay, like that's a different scenario. That person, I'm still going to include that in my numbers, but that person's going to be like, dude, there's too much business out there and too many people that appreciate, us and what we do. Like for me, I'm not going to go out there and chase a freaking asshole. Right. So what I'm talking about is, So let's just say, I talked to somebody that, visited an open house as an example. Maybe we met at an open house on Saturday and I'm having a conversation with that Monday. Maybe I wasn't able to really talk to him at the open house to try to set an appointment, with him at the open house. So I follow up with him. I get a hold of him that Monday, right? So what do I mean by, 5 no's before you get your yes? Hey, I saw you came through the open house and with that, whatever, just try to identify what their goals and timelines are, but with that, it's, hey, I've got some availability. I know that, I want to find out if that open house worked for them, not worked for them. And my script always on that is, hey, well, did this, what'd you think of the property that meet your criteria? You're looking for something different. Almost every time it's looking for something different. Okay. Yeah, no worries at all. And just so my sole purpose of, doing the open house was not to sell you on that property. If the property met your criteria, great. But my overall purpose of doing the open house is to meet amazing people like yourselves that are looking for looking to go out there and buy, identify what you're looking for, and help you go out there and find that. Based on what you're telling me, I've got a few other properties in the area that I'm really confident that will meet your criteria that you'd be happy with, and I've got some availability this evening. If that works for you, we could go check those out, right? So whatever that may be. I mean, that's just a very basic example without going too in depth with it. Right? But when I get that rejection. So an example, and that's my ending open house script, right? So when I'm at an open house, let's just say I'm having a tour with the prospect. At the end of the open house, I always ask them, hey, so does this meet so what do you think of the property? Does it meet your needs or are you looking for something different? Again, almost every time it's looking for something different, need an extra bedroom. Oh, hey, no worries at all. And just so you know, my sole purpose of doing the open house isn't to just necessarily sell you this house. I mean, if the house meets your criteria, great. But if not, that's okay too. But then to go out there and find out what you are looking for and help you go out there and find exactly what you are looking for. Speaking of that, based on what you're telling me here, I mean, I know 3 other properties in the area that I think would really fit your criteria that I think you'd be really happy with. I get out of here at 3. Do you want to meet back in the area at 4 and we can go check those out? Like I already know I'm going to get rejected. Look, dude, if I have 75 people through an open house, okay, I'll probably get 1 or 2 that says yes to that, right? But for the most part, because I know I'm going to get 5 no's to get my yes. No, that doesn't work. Okay, yep, no worries at all. What's your tomorrow look like? I got some availability on, tomorrow, Sunday. I got some availability. What does that look like for you? Right? So again, I know I'm going to get that rejection. Right? So that's what I mean by 5 no's before you get your yes. Right. And now I'll go deeper into this about when I start trying to set appointments and whatnot. So then based on that, okay, if we got a 10% answer rate, then from there, if we get 5 no's before we get a yes, that means if you have average skill set, it is going to take at least 60 calls and 6 conversations to get 1 appointment with the same lead. Now, according to Zillow, the average agent follows up with a lead twice, and that is it. That is not enough frequency to do a damn thing. You might as well not even invest in the lead sources or just go out there and do any activity. And this is who we're seeing so many just get murdered and crushed in this changing market right now, because most in our industry did not have to go out there and acquire skill sets to go out there and sell in a challenging time. If you look at 2012 till mid 2022, it was such an easy overall economic climate, real estate market where you could just kind of show up, kind of work, kind of be consistent, and you go out there and make 6+ figures. You didn't have to have skill set. You just had to just kind of be there, and you had freaking money. You're just making money. Yeah, right. Well, those days are gone, done, and over. But for those of us that are acquiring the skill sets or that have acquired the skill sets, this is a market where it's like fishing with freaking dynamite. Right? We are converting higher at every single lead source, as far as in my business, converting higher at every single lead source that we are doing at record conversions versus, any time in my 19-year career, even though we have more agents chasing them, right, in our overall market. And we have lesser transaction volume, we're converting much higher right now because, dude, we don't have that competition because, again, our competitors that are going after the same lead sources do not have this skill set. They're not dialing in the processes, and they don't have the skill set, to go out there and convert at a high level, right? So got to make sure. So, okay, step number 1 here, I just want you to understand, again, the importance of the calls and making sure that you have adequate frequency to go out there and convert these leads into appointments. Excuse me. Because why does a lead exist inside your system? Right? So if you got a lead, comes in your CRM, why does that lead exist? To set an appointment. That is it. right? So, okay, you got to make sure that you have enough frequency with your overall process to go out there and convert those at the highest possible level. That brings me to number 2 here, which is understanding timeline and psychology. So timeline ends up establishing and letting us know how long we need to follow up, like how long of a period of time, and then what that frequency is in between, that timeline. And every single lead source is going to have a different timeline. So my recommendation for you is to go out there and look at, okay, well, what are the lead sources that you're doing inside your business? And then identify, sorry, I spit my gum out. Then identify what the average timeline is from that inception of that lead until when that lead closes. Because it, like, dude, if you're doing, okay, let's just say you're doing online leads. Okay, well, Google pay-per-click might be slightly different. And I find it is slightly different than, Facebook or Instagram leads. Yeah, right. Those are both vastly different than Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads. Okay, a FSBO is vastly different than, an expired. Or if you're like me and you're building brokerages and teams, a new agent has a different timeline than a seasoned agent. Right? So we got to understand what that timeline is. So let's just say I'll use an expired as an example. Okay, only 10% of expireds relist in the first 90 days. I know 90% end up relisting between month 4 and that 2-year mark. Okay, so then my frequency is going to be at least 2 years, right? My timeline is going to be for at least 2 years with every expired that goes into my funnel as the lead is going to, whether it be a call or a letter. I do a lot of both, right? Because I like to have a lot of inbound expireds coming to me. So I also, do a lot of letters and effective, high converting letters. But either way, whether I'm calling or sending out my letters, it's going to be day 1, then every 21 days for the first 6 months, then every 6 months up to 2 years. So I know I have a long enough timeline to go out there and be able to follow up with them, right? So, okay, like if you look at, let's just say a Facebook lead. I know that the average Facebook lead is in my CRM for 6.7 months before they become a client. Now I'm going to have them on a 1,000-day overall. Like there's going to be an indefinite part of this. Like my email and text strips for pretty much every lead source is going to go out a minimum of 1,000 days. Right? That's just for the automated email and text strips. Then I'll have them on property alerts indefinitely. I'll have them on my 5.5 average broadcast emails monthly indefinitely. Right. But then from there, it's the phone calls that will differ. So like with a Facebook lead as an example, okay, I'm going to have them, you're going to call day number 1, then every other day for the first 14 days, then every 21 days for the first year. Because again, I know that the average Facebook lead, again, is in my system 6.7 months before they become a client, 9 months on average before they close. So I know I have to have at least a year of follow-up calls that are going out to them with that frequency to be able to optimize and maximize on those conversions, right? So again, understand timeline. So what is the average timeline that from lead inception till client to closing that this lead source has, and that's going to establish your minimum amount of time that you need to be following up. Then from there, you got to understand psychology, right? The psychology that lead source is going through, where they're at, what's going on in their mind. Great marketers, great salespeople understand that they got to enter the conversation taking place in their prospect's mind. Right. So, okay, how this determines then what my message is going to be and what I'm saying to these people. I'm going to talk to a Facebook lead, way different than a Zillow lead, expired lead, different than a FSBO lead, a new agent, different than a seasoned team leader that I'm trying to recruit to help them, maybe take their team from 50 million to 200 million in production, right. So it's all the same. Doesn't matter, going after buyers, sellers, agents, so it doesn't matter what level that you're at in your business. This process is the same. So again, timeline establishes length and frequency. And then psychology is, okay, what is your messaging and your overall scripting? What are you saying? When are you saying it? How are you saying it? Right? Because it's not so much about scripts. It's about your delivery of those scripts that truly, truly matter. Okay, so then from there, let me just break down timeline again. Just a good rule of thumb, and I do this pretty much for every lead source, is I put everybody for the most part on what I call a no time frame established. So out of the gate, there's what I do again, a no time frame established, which is going to task me to call them instantly or as soon as possible. Then every other day for 14 days and every 21 days for the first year. Now that is an aggressive frequency. Remember, I'm aggressive with the amount of attempts, but I'm not aggressive with people, right? So just remember that, right? Aggressive with, attempts, not aggressive with people. So then from there, though, that is only until I get them on the phone. Then objective number one, when I get any lead on the phone, just overall, and these are really important because things will go off script so fast. So if we can understand the overall goal of, the initial calls plus each follow-up call, this can greatly help. Well, we don't need to be so reliant on scripts. I hate being reliant on scripts or, because again, things go off script. People don't go to objection school. Every scenario is different. So if I understand what the frameworks are and the overall objective is, it allows me then to navigate any conversation. And I don't need to sit there and rely on a script and sound robotic and like a telemarketer, which is going to kill conversions, and all of that. Okay. So call number one is to establish timeline and their overall goals. That's the whole objective of call number one, or at least for me, right? I want to establish their timeline and I want to establish their goals. Now, how I ask those questions is, again, going to differ. Let's just say I get a Zillow lead. Okay, well, a Zillow lead, like, dude, these are hot to trot, pretty much a sign call. These are people that, like, I'm trying to set the appointment in the first 30 seconds. Yeah, right? Well, if I spoke to a Facebook lead in that same manner, I would spook them the hell off. Right. So a Facebook lead, again, because the whole game there is that long-term nurture follow-up. Right. So, how do I get this out of a Facebook lead? Just as an example, when I get them on the phone, it's just hey, I know that, and this isn't my opener. This is once I'm trying to establish their timeline and their overall goals. I mirror their language. So it's, hey, I know that you're just browsing, probably not looking to make a move now or anytime at all in the, in the near future. So just hypothetically speaking. And the reason that I ask is this just helps me with overall business planning purposes. But just hypothetically speaking, if you were to make a move in the future, what's your best guesstimate of what that time frame may be? Within 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 year. Again, just hypothetically speaking, like what's your best guess of when that might be? Right. And I'm not going to go deep into the psychology of why that script works so damn well, exactly how I said it and the way that I said it with, even as far as the stutters and the pausing and, giving the reason. I'm just telling you, like, dude, everybody gives me their timeline, right? Like it is just, and I don't have time because it would take me an hour to unpack and, do a human behavior psychology course with you guys on why that's so damn effective. But then boom, I established their timeline. Now, here's the thing. When anybody gives you a timeline, doesn't matter what lead source it is. And it doesn't matter if it's a buyer, seller, agent, recruit, whatever they give you for a timeline, you take that and you cut that in half. So if they told me, 12 to 18 months. Okay. That would mean 6 to 12 months. Right. So then from there, I have my now that I've established my timelines, I have my under 6 months, my 6 to 12 months, and my 12 plus months. But whatever they tell me, I cut that in half. And then that determines, I take them off my no time frame established drip plan in my CRM. I click a button. Now it just adds them to, now that I've established their timelines, obviously each of those is going to be a different frequency. Somebody tells me, that they're, if they end up being 6 to 12 months out, okay, I don't need, now if that ends up being, so if they told me 12 to 18 months, which then for me means 6 to 12 months because I cut that in half. Okay, well, then I'm going to be following up with them every 30 days with a phone call. I don't need to do necessarily more than that unless there's a direct reason, but that's going to be adequate, right, as far as is keeping that call alive and rock and roll. So just remember, timeline establishes how long and what the frequency is. And then the psychology helps us establish what our messaging needs to be. Okay, so then the phone calls, right? So I talked about goal is, with the immediate call, goal number one, as quickly as possible, you want to establish the goals, what their real estate goals are, and what their timeline is. So, I walk through kind of Facebook lead of how I get their timeline. So then when I get to, okay, good, thank you so much for that. And hey, just out of curiosity, and again, I know that you're not looking to move, now or anytime at all in the near future, as as we just discussed, but if you were to move in the future, what is it, what is it about your current living situation, that isn't ideal that you would like to see differently? And whether it be about the location, or about the home that itself, what are those most important features to you as far as location, home features, that maybe you're not getting in your current, with your current living situation that you'd like to have, with the, the next living situation, if and when that, you ever make that move. So again, just going into it, and that's not exactly, I'd slow it down a little bit and but that gives you an idea of, how I transition in that next conversation, right? Because you want to lower sales resistance. So what am I doing there? Hey, I know that you're not making looking to make a move like we just talked about, but just out of curiosity, if you were to make that move, let's just say in the next, 12 to 18 months, what is it about your current living situation that isn't ideal? And what would you like to see in your new living situation? Whether that be about location or home features itself or a combination of both. Again, what would you like to see ideally in if and when you were to make a move in the future? So what am I trying to, that's their goals. And sales is just all about pain and pleasure. They are experiencing a pain with their current living situation. And when they're out of that pain, they want to get to pleasure, right? The more that we can understand that, right? The more that we're going to be in tune with the goals, the more that we can create urgency, the more that we can go out there and help them with that, right? So if sales is all just about pain and pleasure, our job as real estate professionals is to articulate we're the best guy to get them from their pain to the pleasure that they want to get to, right? So whoever he or she that can articulate that the best, and again, it doesn't matter whether it's a buyer, sell, or with agents too, like agent recruiting. I'm trying to find out their current pain they're experiencing, the pleasure that they want to get to, and articulate that I'm the best guide to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. So it's like when I'm recruiting an agent, whether it be to my real estate company, or a coaching client, like I know with 100% full certainty, there's not another, mentor coach on the planet that can help them get from where they're at to where they want to go in a quicker, more efficient, effective, and profitable manner. But in order for me to articulate that to them, I got to know where their business is currently at, what the pain is that they're experiencing, where they want their business to go, and what that success means to them and how it impacts their family, right? Then from there, okay, then I can articulate when I know where they're at and where they want to go, I can articulate the roadmap very, very quickly. And then that allows me to demonstrate to them, that I'm the best guy to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. So that's, again, all sales is. So that's the initial call. Then from there, as far as all follow-up calls from that point, those follow-up calls are to reinforce their goals, establish rapport, right? So establish and build rapport to continue that throughout that process, right? Because as soon as we break that rapport, people won't listen to us. And the rapport is really the trustability, the likability. So we're trying to deepen rapport. We're trying to, so not just establish, but establish it and deepen rapport, reinforce their goals, and inform and educate. So then that way we can get to that next natural progression of the process, which is setting an appointment. Now, for me personally, I start getting pretty aggressive at setting appointments when they're about 6 months out. So like if somebody's a year out, unless they're in town or whatever, there might be certain reasons that I'd be aggressive at trying to set an appointment. But once they get to a point where they're about 6 months out, that's where I start getting, aggressive with trying to set the appointment. And when I say aggressive, that doesn't mean aggressive with people. That means aggressive with, it's like every time I talk to them, it's going to be like, hey, I know that when we talked last time, you mentioned that you weren't ready for this, but I just want to mention it again because in my professional opinion, it 100% is the next best step. It's really important that we make sure that you are fully informed and educated on the overall home buying or home selling process, whichever it is, right? Home buying process. You have all the information that you need. You have all your questions answered, and again, you know everything that it fully entails, so you can make your best informed decision for yourself and for your family. In order to do that, again, it takes about an hour, and we can do it via Zoom, or we can do it in person, whichever you prefer, and again, as I've told you several times now, but I just want to, make sure that you understand this, know this. Everything I do, I operate by a 100% zero pressure policy. So you never have to worry about being pushed, pressured, sold, hassled. I don't run my business that way. I don't believe in that. I'm just here to provide you all the information that you need to make the best decision for yourself and for your family. Yeah. Right. So that is, the overall objective of call number one and the overall goal of each and every call after that. Okay. So then just some mental things that I think that have helped me immensely, helped my agents a lot, that I think will help you as well. All right. Stop thinking of these as leads and sales, and start instead thinking of them as human beings. Look, I get and I understand that inside of our business, we have to have definitions. I get it. Like I have definitions, it's like, what's a lead? What's a prospect? What's a client? We have definitions, so, and I get why we need to have those and whatnot, but I'm just talking about from, our mental framework standpoint of going out there and being able to convert at a much higher level. So I don't think of, anybody as being a lead in my system. I understand that these are human beings. This isn't a lead. This is somebody's daughter, somebody's son, somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's grandparent, right? These are real human beings with real needs, real concerns, real fears, right? And I'm here to have a positive impact in any way I possibly can on these human beings' lives. So instead of thinking of them as like, oh, this is my lead list I got to follow up with today. Oh, here's my, prospecting calls. Look, dude, like to me, these are human beings, and here's my today's impact list. Here's a list of maybe I got 200 human beings in my impact list, and my job is to call those 200 human beings and look for one way, shape, form, or fashion that I can have a positive impact on their life for that day, right? Because I have found like to get optimal conversions, to build that, get people to, what's the overall real estate game? Get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living, frequently your business continues to grow, right? So then from there, it doesn't matter how you impact their life, real estate related or not. If you have a way of impacting their life, like, dude, your business, like you're going to convert more. You're going to get their business. So I'm just looking for ways to be able to impact their life. Right. And maybe it's something super small. Maybe I find out that they're into hiking, and I'm able to, help them go find a hiking spot, right. Or whatever, like, or maybe it's a recipe, or like, I don't care what it is. Again, I'm just looking for, rapport building things of impact, throughout those conversations. And then, okay, a couple last things just as ending tips here, but are extremely important. So do not hang up yet, because if you get these wrong, you are going to suck with your overall conversions. All right, you got to understand what the consumer wants today and give the consumer what they want, right? So the golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat others how they want to be treated. You want to be massively successful at sales, follow the platinum rule. Golden rule is good, but you want to be highly successful, follow the platinum rule. Give people what it is that they want. What does the consumer want today? They want the information that they want and need to make their best informed decision, but they want to do that in a safe, comfortable, non-pushy, non-pressure, non-hassle environment. So you need to give them what they want. So the key there becomes selling without people feeling like they're being sold. So, like, again, this is why hardcore old school sales tactics are so ineffective, especially with today's information-based consumer. Like they like, you just want to shit the bed at sales and have the hardest conversion rates, the worst conversion rates, and, just have to make it where real estate's a quote unquote numbers game and just, low conversions. Okay, then go do that stuff. But for me, I'm not interested in that. Right? Like, I want to convert at the highest possible level, and have fun while I'm doing it, enjoy my days, enjoy my conversations, and impact people in the right way. So then from there, there is a way to go out there and sell without selling, and that's what I frame it as: selling without selling. It's understanding pre-framing, understanding reframing, something that I work so in depth with all my coaching clients on, because look, it can make the difference of doubling your conversions. You can have the same FSBO script, the same, expired script, the same everything. But if you know how to pre-frame it correctly, and I gave you an example of that with the Facebook lead. So we already went through a pre-frame, right? When I asked them about their timeline, that was just me pre-framing that so that I can get the answer that I wanted and needed. Where if I didn't pre-frame it, okay, I'll probably get 30 to 40% answer rates on that, where 60 to 70% are saying, just browsing and then just getting off the phone. Right. Where when I pre-frame it correctly, okay, I might get 90 to 100%, or greater of people that are giving those responses that I want. So just giving the consumer what is that they want. So thinking of, okay, so all pre-framing is okay, how can I set the stage, for this question where I can get the answer that I want and need to be able to serve and support them at the highest possible level with their real estate needs. So how can I frame this? So then that way they don't feel like they're being sold. They don't shut down. They don't go into, the croc brain, go into fight or flight mode where I'm just getting a shallow, just kind of get the hell out of here response. Right. So it makes a world of difference. So give the consumer what they want. And these are why I have things like my absolute no pressure policy. One of the best things I ever did in my business, over 15 years ago was, or maybe it might not have been quite 15 years ago, but somewhere between 10 and 15 years ago, was institute my very strict absolute no pressure policy. And then reinforcing that every conversation, like just making people feel like, hey, everything I do is 100% zero pressure. So you never have to worry about being sold, push pressured. You never have to worry about, being pushed to do anything that you're uncomfortable with. Look, when I'm, in a sales situation and somebody starts hard pushing and hard selling me, like, I personally hate that. Can't stand that. And I don't believe in treating others how I don't want to be treated. So you never have to worry about with me. that with me. Everything that I do is just here. I mean, like, I'm here to provide you all the information you need to make the best decision for yourself and for your family, regardless of what that decision is. And like, as an example, for like, if I'm trying to set a buyer consult, right. I'll tell them, like, hey, look, at the end of this meeting, you may decide that home ownership is for you. Just now isn't the time. And hey, that's okay. You may also decide that, hey, home ownership is never for you. And hey, that's okay too. You may even decide that home ownership is for you. Now is the time. You just don't feel comfortable moving forward with me as the realtor to help you through the process. And again, that's okay too. The sole purpose of this meeting is to provide you with all the information that you need to make the best decision for yourself and for your family, regardless of whatever that decision is. Right. So I'm just making them feel comfortable. Right. So lowering that sales resistance, through pre-framing and reframing. We already talked about this earlier, but sales is pain and pleasure. Right. So getting them from the pain that they're experiencing, the pleasure that they want to get to. The thing we didn't talk about earlier that's really essential here is, okay, we got to understand sales about pain and pleasure. And then from there, they'll being able to identify what are the problems. So if we got to take them from pain to pleasure, okay, well, then there's going to be a roadblock. Right? These are problems. So we got to have the ability to identify the problems and remove those problems. So an example with this, something one of my coaching clients, we were having a conversation with just the other day on, because if you're calling expireds a lot right now, you're probably going to hear a lot of, well, yeah, we wanted to sell, but now, and we wanted to sell, so we go out there and buy, but now with the interest rates, being where they're at, we just have to hold off. Okay, well, that is a problem, right? Well, that's such an easy obstacle to overcome. So freaking easy. But if you don't know how to identify the real root cause of the problem and be able to go out there and solve those problems, okay, well, then you can't, like most that hit that, like, oh, I get it. Sorry. Oh, nobody's buying and selling because of interest rates. Easy objection to overcome, right? But we have to be able to identify what that true root core problem is, and then be able to, articulate that we have solutions for those problems. So then objections, like, you be good at being able to overcome objections. And a way to do that is just to understand objections are just concerns. People do not go to objection school. So a lot of times the objections that you are getting are not the root core true objection. So being able to follow up with, questions to try to find that root core objection, again, that root core concern, and moving that process forward. Last thing that I'll say here is making sure that you're leading the process. Right. Like, you are the professional. People want to be led. People are used to being led. Like, think about, okay, like when you go to the dentist, when you are going to anywhere in your life, right? Okay, you walk in there, like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Oh, you stand 6 feet apart, wear your mask, do this, wash your hands for 20 seconds. Right. Like, okay, people just comply. Right. And I'm not doing this in a way to trick people or manipulate people. Right. Like, I am the real estate professional. I am the leader, and I'm going to lead the process for my clients, my leads, my potential clients. Right. Here is what the process is. But the more that you have a process that you can lead them down, the more comfortable that they are going to feel, with you through this. So anyway, hope that you guys found this helpful. Again, making sure that you are hammering those phones, being aggressive with aggressive with the frequency, not aggressive with people themselves. And with that being said, man, if you guys need help dialing in any element of this, if you need help in any element of your real estate business, if you are somebody that's looking to grow and scale your real estate business, but you're stuck, maybe the growth that you're experiencing isn't the at the rate that you want to experience it. Maybe you want to double, triple, or more your business in the next 12, or whatever that may be, but you're experiencing some resistance, or it's going slower than you like, or for a lot of people out there with your business is stagnant right now or declining, and you want my help and need my help. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the scrolling bar. I just set up StreamYard for the first time, so hopefully that's working. But you can schedule a 100% zero pressure strategy coaching call with me personally. And again, everything I do is 100% zero pressure. This just gives us a chance to jump on a Zoom call for an hour together, talk about your business, where your business is currently at, what your goals are at, like so where your business is at, where your goals are at, what you want to accomplish in the next 12 months, break down. And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about what your strategy, what you're doing right now. And then I can help you come up with a game plan to ensure that you get from where you're at to where you want to go, here within the next 12 months. Right. And again, 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom call. So you can go to gsdmode.com. Right there at the top of that website, there'll be a banner there that you can click on to schedule that with me. And these are with me personally. So 100%, zero pressure Zoom call with me personally. So if you're going to schedule it, make sure to show up. Because if you no-show me, I'm busy, and I'm here to pour into you and help you. That's why I do these, podcasts. I'm here to pour in to help you with this hour strategy call too. But if you show me, like, you're going to get my bad, right? Like I'm busy. I got a busy life out there too. So just make sure if you're going to schedule this with me, you show up, and I will make sure that this call is extremely powerful for you. And we will get you dialed in of knowing exactly what you need to go out there and do to get from where you're at to where it is that you want to go. So again, gsdmode.com, click on that top banner. You can go to gsdmode.com/Zoom call, because it's going to be a Zoom call, right? So gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Can also get to the scheduling link from there. All right, you guys. Well, I hope that this is helpful. Keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass. And I will talk to you next time. Peace.